If you've ever wondered how to make her fall madly in love with you, not just a little interest, but full-blown obsession, this is the only video you'll ever need. You're about to discover an unstoppable formula that shows you exactly how to spark her curiosity, trigger raw emotional connection, and become the kind of man she simply can't resist, from the very first glance to the moment she's hooked. So if you're ready to finally become that guy, the one who gets her heart racing and her mind spinning, watch this till the very end. And if you never want to miss out again, hit subscribe now and guarantee your success in love forever. What if I told you that making someone completely obsessed with you isn't about looks, money, or even being the perfect person? It's about understanding how the mind works and using that knowledge to create a connection so deep, so addictive, that they can't stop thinking about you. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about triggering powerful psychological responses that most people don't even realize they're reacting to. You've probably seen it before. Someone who isn't the best-looking guy in the room, but women hang on every word he says. She checks her phone every 5 minutes just to see if he texted. She chases him, thinks about him, dreams about him. That level of obsession doesn't happen by accident. This video breaks it all down. I'm going to show you how obsession is created, step by step. We'll tap into what really pulls people in: emotional addiction, unpredictability, deep connection, and just enough mystery to keep their minds spinning. But here's the deal: use this power responsibly. This isn't about faking your way into someone's heart. It's about becoming someone so intriguing, so emotionally magnetic, that people can't help but be drawn to you. If you've ever wanted someone to think about you constantly, miss you when you're not around, and feel like they need you in their life, stick around. Because once you understand these principles, you'll never see relationships the same way again. Obsession doesn't come from surface-level attraction. It comes from how someone feels when they're around you. It's emotional, it's chemical, and once those feelings kick in, logic takes a back seat. At the heart of obsession is dopamine. This brain chemical is all about reward. When someone associates you with positive emotion, surprise, excitement, pleasure, their brain lights up. They want more. The catch: it's not just about constant pleasure, it's about unpredictability. When the reward isn't guaranteed every time, the brain actually becomes more addicted. Think of it like a slot machine. You never know when the win is coming, so you keep pulling the lever. This is why giving someone a perfect, predictable experience doesn't lead to obsession, it leads to comfort. Obsession comes from emotional highs and lows, from the moments they're unsure, the times you pull back, and then come back stronger. Another part? Emotional imprinting. The more intense emotions you share with someone, laughter, tension, eye contact, vulnerability, the more they associate those feelings with you. Their brain stores your presence next to those moments. That's what sticks. And then there's scarcity. People obsess over what they can't fully have. If you're too available, you lose value fast. But if you balance presence with a little bit of distance, you become something to earn. That's powerful. When you understand how obsession is built, not by force but through emotion, you stop chasing and start drawing people in without saying a word. Before we continue with the video and dive deeper into the psychology behind emotional bonding and attraction, I'd love to ask for your support. I'm working towards reaching 1,000 subscribers, and your subscription would mean a lot. If you enjoy this content, consider hitting that subscribe button. It really helps. Alright, let's get back to it. If obsession starts in the brain, it grows in the heart. Emotional connection is the fuel that turns curiosity into craving. And the truth is, people don't get obsessed with perfection. They get obsessed with how you make them feel. Most guys try to impress someone by talking about themselves, status, goals, opinions. But connection doesn't come from talking, it comes from listening. When you actually hear someone, when you lock in, react to the little things they say, and ask questions that go deeper than surface-level stuff, you create a bond, not just a moment, but a memory. Vulnerability is also key. That doesn't mean dumping your entire life story on someone. It means letting your guard down just enough to show that you're real. When you share something personal, something you didn't have to share, it opens the door for them to do the same. That back and forth creates intimacy fast. Another powerful tool? Shared experiences. It's not always about what you say, it's about what you do together. Doing something exciting, unpredictable, or even slightly outside your comfort zones together leaves an emotional mark. Why? because the brain links those moments of adrenaline or tension with the person you're with. The deeper the emotional link, the more your presence sticks in their mind. You become the person who understands them, the person who makes them feel seen, and most importantly, the person they want to be around when life feels intense or uncertain. The strongest emotional connections are built in moments where you're not trying to impress, but just being present, real, and locked into them. Here's a psychological trick most people overlook. If you want someone to like you more, don't just try to be liked. Make them feel liked first. That's ingratiation, and when used the right way, it's one of the most powerful tools for creating obsession. Ingratiation isn't about kissing up or being fake. It's about making someone feel good about themselves, around you. Think about it. We're drawn to people who make us feel smart, funny, attractive, important. So if every interaction with you leaves someone feeling valued, their brain starts linking you with those good feelings. A simple compliment done right hits deep, not the generic stuff, "You're hot" or "You're pretty." Number go deeper. "The way your mind works is actually insane," or "I love how sharp you are when you talk about something you care about." When you notice something other people miss, it lands harder. Another layer, mirroring. Subtly reflect their tone, their energy, even their wording. People connect faster with others who feel familiar. That mirroring sends subconscious signals that say, "We're alike." And when someone feels seen and understood, attraction deepens, fast. Agreement is another tool. You don't have to fake it, but when you align with someone's beliefs or experiences, especially early on, it creates psychological safety, it builds trust, and trust accelerates connection. But the trick is balance. If you overdo it, it feels fake. If you're too neutral, it feels distant. The key is targeted reinforcement. Make them feel uniquely appreciated without losing your own voice. When someone starts to crave your presence because they feel more themselves around you, obsession begins to grow, not because you tried too hard, but because you understood how to make them feel seen, special, and safe. If emotional connection is what makes someone feel close to you, mystery is what keeps them coming back. Obsession doesn't just grow from intimacy, it grows from curiosity. And curiosity only exists when there are gaps in what someone knows about you. The problem most people have. They overshare too fast. They lay out their whole life story on the first few conversations, hoping that openness will build trust. But when someone can figure you out immediately, there's nothing left to discover. And without discovery, there's no chase. Mystery doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being intentional with what you reveal. Share just enough to be interesting, then pull back. Let silence create space for their mind to fill in the blanks. The human brain hates unfinished puzzles. And when you become a puzzle they can't quite solve, you stay on their mind longer. Keep them wondering what you're doing, who you're with, what you're thinking. Don't always respond immediately, don't explain every detail, don't always be the first to open up. The less predictable you are, the more exciting you become. Also, be hard to categorize. Most people put others in boxes quickly. He's this type, she's that type. But when you show different sides, serious one moment, playful the next, you break that mold. And breaking the mold makes people pay attention. People become obsessed not just because they like you, but because they're drawn to figure you out. When you mix emotional connection with just enough mystery, you create something addictive. You leave a question mark in their mind, and that question mark keeps them coming back. Here's a twist you probably didn't expect. Asking for help can actually make someone like you more. Sounds backward, right? But that's the power of the Ben Franklin effect. The idea is simple. When someone does a favor for you, their brain naturally justifies it by thinking, "I must like this person. Why else would I go out of my way?" That shift happens subconsciously, and it can trigger deeper emotional investment over time. Most people think that giving and doing favors builds bonds, and while that can help, it often makes you seem overly eager, or worse, needy. But when you flip it and let them do something for you, they feel valuable in your presence. That's key. Start small. Ask for an opinion. Ask for help with something light, like recommending a movie or helping you decide between two options. It doesn't have to be deep or serious. The goal isn't to inconvenience them, it's to invite them to be involved in your world. Once someone invests even a little bit of effort in you, their mind starts creating emotional justification. Why do I care what he watches? Why did I spend time helping him? Those micro questions turn into micro attachments. An attachment, when reinforced properly, leads to obsession. But here's where it gets powerful. After they help you, show subtle appreciation, but don't make it a big deal. Don't overly praise. Acknowledge it, then move forward with confidence. That creates balance. You're grateful, but still self-sufficient. The more you involve someone in your life through these small acts of trust, the more they begin to want your attention. It becomes personal. They don't just like you, they feel emotionally invested in you. And when someone invests in you, they rarely walk away without thinking twice. If there's one trait that instantly sets you apart from the crowd, it's independence. The moment someone senses that you're not waiting around for their approval, that you've got your own life, your own direction, and your own fire, they start seeing you differently. Obsession doesn't come from neediness, it comes from scarcity. And nothing is more scarce than someone who is desirable but doesn't need to be desired. Here's what most people get wrong. They confuse connection with attachment. They think being around someone all the time proves interest. But real attraction grows when there's space to miss you. When they have just enough access to stay hooked, but not enough to feel like they've got you fully figured out. Independence isn't just physical space, it's emotional space. It's knowing who you are outside of the relationship. Having goals, routines, and passions that have nothing to do with them. When you're busy building something of your own, it sends a powerful message. You can be part of my life, but you're not the center of it. Ironically, the more grounded and fulfilled you are on your own, the more someone wants to be part of your world. Your time becomes valuable. Your energy becomes rare. And rare things? People chase them. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't feel guilty for prioritizing your schedule. And don't ever put someone else's comfort ahead of your mission. The strongest obsessions form not around people who are always available, but around people who stay true to themselves, no matter who's watching. When they realize you're whole without them, that's when they'll want you the most. Now, let's get real for a second. Everything you've learned in this video is powerful, psychologically powerful. You now understand how emotional addiction forms, how mystery builds tension, how small moments create deep investment. And yes, used well, this knowledge can make someone think about you constantly. But here's the line. Just because you can create obsession doesn't mean you should at any cost. This isn't about control. It's not about turning someone into a puppet or making them depend on you to feel whole. That's manipulation. That's toxic. And in the long run, it always backfires. The real goal here is to attract someone genuinely, and to create such a strong emotional connection that they choose to stay obsessed because you bring value, depth, and authenticity, not because you're playing with their insecurities or gaming their emotions. When you use these tools with integrity, everything changes. You draw in better people. You build stronger, longer-lasting bonds. And most importantly, you respect the emotional power you hold. So let me ask you, have you ever had someone obsess over you and you knew it had more to do with how you made them feel than who you were trying to be? Or maybe the reverse, you got caught up in someone you couldn't explain. Drop your story in the comments. I read everyone. If this video gave you a new perspective, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers and every click helps more than you know. If you want more content that dives deep like this, you're in the right place. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay intentional, and use what you've learned wisely.
You've been there. She laughs at your jokes, texts you good morning, and calls you to vent about her bad day. You're there for her, always. But deep down, it stings. Because no matter how close you two get, you're stuck in that brutal, awkward place, the friend zone. You're not her boyfriend, you're not her date, you're just her emotional support, her safety net, the nice guy who's always there, just not in that way. And look, being a friend isn't a bad thing. But when you're hoping for more, when you're picturing what it'd be like to hold her hand instead of hold her purse, it can be soul-crushing. But here's what most guys get wrong. They think the only way out is by confessing their feelings and hoping for a miracle. Spoiler alert. That usually doesn't work. This video isn't about tricking her. It's not about faking confidence or acting like someone you're not. It's about learning how to shift the dynamic, how to reconnect with who you are, and how to become someone she can actually see romantically. Because guess what? You can shift how she sees you. but it takes strategy, patience, and self-respect. We're going to break down why you ended up in the friend zone, how to get clarity on what you really want, and what small but powerful changes can make her start seeing you in a different light. And by the end, you'll walk away with a game plan. Whether she changes her mind or you decide to walk away on your own terms, you'll do it with confidence. Before you can change anything, you have to understand what you're dealing with. The friend zone isn't a curse, it's a result. It's what happens when one person sees the connection as platonic, while the other is silently hoping for more. But here's the catch. Being in the friend zone doesn't mean she doesn't like you. It means she doesn't see you as a romantic option yet. And usually, that perception is built from how you've positioned yourself. You've probably been emotionally available, supportive, and kind, but without adding any romantic tension. No spark, no flirtation, no suggestion that you're anything other than safe. Women categorize quickly. Early on, she puts you in a box. Friend, fling, future boyfriend. Once you're in the friend box, it's hard to move, but not impossible. Let's take an example. You've been her go-to for everything. Rides to the airport, relationship advice, someone to text when she's bored. One day she texts you, "Can you come over and help me build this IKEA bookshelf?" You're tempted to say, "Of course," like always. But instead you pause. You say, "I've got plans tonight, but I'll swing by this weekend if I have time. You owe me dinner though. Those shelves better come with pasta." That little shift, it adds mystery, it sets a boundary, and it introduces a playful, slightly flirty tone. You're not saying, "I love you." You're showing you have your own life. You're not always available, and you're still keeping the vibe light. Understanding the friend zone is about recognizing how your actions or inactions shaped her impression of you. The goal isn't to beg for a promotion from friend to lover. It's to change how you show up so she starts questioning how she sees you. Before we continue with the video, and my next point about gaining clarity on your intentions, I'd like to ask for a small favor. I'm working toward reaching 1,000 subscribers. If you found this helpful so far, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps this channel grow. Okay, let's move forward. Before you even think about changing how she sees you, you need to get brutally honest with yourself. Why do you want her to like you back? Is it because you truly feel a connection worth exploring, or is it because you're stuck on the idea of winning her over? A lot of guys don't realize they're chasing an outcome that has more to do with ego than emotion. They want her because she hasn't chosen them yet, not because she's necessarily the right person. It's important to look at the dynamic for what it really is, not what you hope it could be. Are you acting like her friend while secretly resenting that role? Do you find yourself overcompensating, being extra available, overly supportive, too agreeable, just to stay close? That's not a romantic pursuit, that's self-abandonment. And the more you shrink yourself to fit what you think she wants, the less she's going to see you as someone worth wanting. You need to shift the spotlight back onto you. Take a step back and think, do I feel proud of how I've been showing up? Have I been honest with myself or just hopeful? Am I still grounded in who I am, or have I been molding myself around her attention? The answers might sting a little, but that's how real growth begins. This is the moment where you start to take your power back. Refocus your time and energy on things that genuinely fuel you. Start doing the things that made you feel confident before this whole situation got complicated. When you rebuild your identity around your own passions, not her validation, you become magnetic in a way no words ever could. You don't need to convince her to like you. You need to become someone who's undeniable, whether she gets it or not. Confidence isn't something you can fake, it's something you become. If you've been friend-zoned, there's a high chance she doesn't see you as someone she could desire. Not because you lack worth, but because you haven't shown her the version of you that truly stands out. That version isn't created by obsessing over her. It's built through growth, effort, and self-pride. Here's the truth. When you're constantly available, always eager to please, and neglecting your own goals, you give off one message. You've placed her at the center of your world. That doesn't feel attractive. It feels desperate. On the flip side, when you start pouring into yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, you become someone who radiates a different kind of energy. That energy, that's what flips the script. Confidence is earned through action. Hit the gym, not to impress her, but to feel powerful in your own skin. Start that side hustle. Pick up that old passion project. Take care of your appearance, upgrade your style. These things are not superficial. They're signals. They tell the world, I know my value and I'm investing in myself. That's the kind of shift that changes how everyone sees you, including her, but it goes deeper than looks. Emotional confidence matters just as much. Can you walk into a room without needing to dominate it, but still feel like you belong? Can you hold eye contact without flinching, speak with clarity, and not apologize for having opinions? Those subtle behaviors speak volumes. And here's where it gets real. When she sees you thriving without needing her approval, her perspective might start to change. Not because you tried to convince her, but because she starts wondering, wait, did I miss something? That curiosity is powerful, and it only comes when you stop chasing and start building. So no, you don't need to wait around hoping she'll come to her senses. You need to elevate your game for you. If she sees it and comes around, great. If not, you've still become a stronger, more magnetic version of yourself. That's a win either way. If you want her to start seeing you differently, you have to start showing up differently. Not in a dramatic, attention-grabbing way, but in small, calculated shifts that challenge the way she's always viewed you. Right now, she probably sees you as the reliable friend, the guy who's always there, always listening, always available. That role comes with zero romantic pressure, and while it might feel safe for her, it's also completely unthreatening. And unfortunately, unthreatening rarely triggers attraction. So what do? You change the rhythm. Start by pulling back slightly. Not to play games, but to reestablish balance. If she's used to instant replies, let her wait a bit. If she's expecting you to drop plans every time she needs something, politely say you're busy, not cold, not rude, just unavailable on your terms. That contrast alone can be powerful. Next, introduce flirtation. Nothing over the top. Keep it light, unexpected. A well-timed compliment on how she looks when she's not trying. A playful tease. A raised eyebrow when she jokes about being single. These moments interrupt the just friends pattern. They add tension, and tension is the soil where attraction grows. Let's say she's telling you about some guy problems. Instead of giving deep, emotional advice like a therapist, you smirk and say, "You know, for someone so smart, you really pick terrible guys." Then hold the eye contact just a little longer than usual. That line walks the line. It's bold, flirty, but not desperate. That's how you start shifting perception. And you don't need to explain these changes to her. Let your actions speak. Let her wonder what's different. Let her feel that you're no longer orbiting around her, but standing in your own space. Eventually, she'll either lean in or back off. Either way, you've taken control of the dynamic. What you're doing isn't manipulation. It's course correction. You're adjusting the energy you bring so she can't keep putting you in the same box. When that energy shifts, she doesn't just see a friend anymore, she starts seeing a man she might want. There comes a point where subtlety has done its job. You've shifted your energy. You've pulled back, built your confidence, created tension. Now, the next step is clarity. And clarity only comes through conversation. But this isn't a confession. It's not a dramatic, heart-on-your-sleeve moment where you pour everything out and hope she swoons. That kind of emotional dump often creates pressure, not connection. What you're doing instead is creating space for honesty, with calm, mature intention. Choose your moment wisely. Not in a heated or emotional situation. Not after drinks. Not when she's talking about another guy. Find a neutral moment. Maybe after you've spent time together. When the mood is relaxed and the energy is light. Then keep it simple. Something like, "I've been thinking lately. I really value our friendship, but I'd be lying if I said I haven't thought about something more." That's not a demand. That's not a plea. It's just a truth. Direct but respectful. What you say next matters. You don't ask her to make a decision on the spot. You give her space. You say, "I'm not putting pressure on you. I just wanted to be honest about where I'm at. I understand if you don't feel the same, but I'd rather be real with you than keep pretending." That kind of grounded honesty shows self-respect. It also gives her a chance to process rather than react. And yes, there's risk involved. She might say she doesn't see you that way. She might need time. Or she might admit she's been feeling a shift too. But whatever happens, you walk away knowing you led with courage, not fear. Open communication isn't about winning. It's about alignment. If the energy between you has changed, she'll feel it. And if you're both adults, it's worth talking about because silence doesn't lead to clarity. Words do. If you've had the conversation, if you've laid your cards on the table and she still doesn't feel the same, then you have one job now. Respect her answer. This is the moment that defines everything. It's not about how cool your message was or how much you did to get her to notice you. It's about how you carry yourself after you hear her truth. Too many guys make the mistake of turning cold, bitter, or distant the moment they don't get what they hoped for. That kind of reaction proves you were never really being her friend. You were just waiting for your chance, and if you go that route, you lose her respect along with her interest. What you do instead is simple, but powerful. You stay grounded. You thank her for her honesty. You make peace with her choice, even if it stings. And you remind yourself that you didn't lose anything by being honest. You showed up with clarity and courage. That's strength, not weakness. If she doesn't return your feelings, that doesn't mean you're not enough. It means the connection didn't align the way you hoped. That's not rejection, it's redirection. Give yourself permission to pull back if you need to. Heal your space. Let time reset your focus. If the friendship can continue, great. If it can't, that's okay too. What matters is that you leave with dignity. Because how you handle her no says more about you than how you asked for her yes. Thanks for watching till the end. It means you're not just chasing love. You're learning how to lead with confidence and clarity. If this video helped shift your mindset or gave you something real to think about, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps more than you know. And I want to hear from you. What part of this video hit home the most? Have you ever been friend-zoned and tried to shift that dynamic? Drop your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else figure theirs out. Until next time, respect yourself, play it smart, and never settle.
There's a moment every man knows. You see her. She laughs, moves, speaks, and suddenly she's the only one in the room. But no matter what you try, she doesn't feel the same. And it kills you a little, doesn't it? Let me be blunt. If you're waiting for her to notice you, you've already lost. Attraction isn't some cosmic accident. It's not about fate. And it's sure as hell not about luck. It's about understanding how women fall in love and using that knowledge to become unforgettable. The truth? Most guys are trying to win a woman's heart by doing what feels right. They're being nice, texting back fast, complimenting her, proving they're not like the other guys. But if that worked, you wouldn't be watching this right now, would you? This video isn't about tricks to manipulate her. It's about transformation. You're going to learn 5 specific moves that flip a switch in her brain. Subtle psychological triggers that create emotional heat. The kind that makes her think about you when you're not even around. These aren't cheap tactics. They're the quiet behaviors of men who know exactly what they're doing. And once you start using them, she won't just notice you. She'll start chasing you. So if you've ever been the guy she almost liked, the one she vented to about other men, this is your shot to rewrite that story. Stick around, because I'm about to show you how to stop being an option and start being the one. Let's kill the biggest myth right now. Women only want the tall, ripped, rich guy. False. Yes, physical attraction matters, but what really keeps a woman coming back? Emotional intelligence. It's the one thing most men completely overlook, and yet it's your most powerful weapon. Here's what emotional intelligence actually means. It's not about being sensitive or overly emotional. It's about reading her, being aware of what she's feeling, even when she's not saying it, and responding in a way that makes her feel seen, safe, and understood. Most guys bulldoze their way through conversations, focused on what they want to say. The emotionally intelligent man listens between the lines. He notices the shift in her tone when she talks about her day, He catches the hesitation in her voice when she says she's fine. He doesn't push. He leans in, calmly, curiously. And here's the twist. Women expect most men to ignore those signs. When you're the one who notices, you stand out. You go from being a guy she talks to a guy she trusts. And trust, that's the gateway to emotional attraction. Once she feels that emotional safety with you, her walls come down, fast. Want to test this? Next time you're talking to her, ask her how she felt about something instead of what happened. Pay attention to her eyes, her body language, her silence. Then validate it. Say something like, "That sounds like it really threw you off," or "I get why that would bother you." You're not solving anything. You're just making her feel understood. That alone, game changer. Before we continue with the video and my further explanation about the problems with men chasing attraction instead of connection, I'd like to ask for your help. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe and support me. Okay, let's continue. Attraction might open the door, but trust is what keeps her from walking out. Most guys focus on the spark, the chemistry, the butterflies, but here's the harsh truth. Without trust, those butterflies die fast. She's not looking for someone who only excites her, she's looking for someone who feels solid, dependable, real. Here's the difference. Attraction is about how you make her feel in the moment. Trust is about how you make her feel over time. Can she count on you? Are you consistent, or are you just charming when it's convenient? You don't build trust with big gestures, you build it in the small moments. It's answering her message when you said you would. It's remembering that thing she casually mentioned a week ago and bringing it up later. It's showing up, especially when it's inconvenient. That's when she notices. Women are constantly evaluating if they're safe emotionally, if they can be vulnerable without regretting it. So when you prove, again and again, that you're not going to flake, disappear, or turn cold when things get real, that's when she stops questioning you. That's when she starts believing in you. Now let's flip it. What breaks trust? Inconsistency. Saying one thing and doing another. Being overly eager, then ghosting. Acting like she's the only one, while leaving a trail of mixed signals. You can be the most attractive guy in the room, but once your behavior doesn't match your words, game over. One of the strongest moves a man can make? Predictability. Not in a boring way, but in a way that lets her relax. You're not just exciting, you're safe. And when a woman feels safe with you, that's when real love starts to grow. Confidence makes her look twice. Cockiness makes her walk away. Let's clear this up. Confidence isn't loud. It's not about flexing your money, bragging about your achievements, or dominating every conversation. Real confidence is quiet. It's the way you carry yourself when nobody's watching. It's knowing your worth without needing to announce it every 5 seconds. Women can spot fake confidence a mile away. When a guy constantly tries to impress, name drop, or show off, she knows he's compensating. That kind of energy doesn't attract her. It exhausts her. What actually draws her in? Calm certainty. A man who doesn't need approval because he already knows who he is. Here's what that looks like in practice. You're not afraid of silence. You can say no without flinching. You make decisions without constantly checking if she approves. You don't panic if she's not replying right away because you're not seeking validation, you're offering value. Confidence also means being comfortable with vulnerability. Yeah, you heard that right. The guy who can own his flaws without making them a punchline. That guy has real power. He's not pretending to be perfect. He's showing her he's human and strong enough to admit it. Now let's talk body language. Posture matters. Eye contact matters. Speaking with clarity instead of mumbling or trailing off. Huge. The way you physically take up space, shoulders back, chin up, signals confidence long before you say a word. You want to destroy any hint of cockiness? Show respect. Listen more than you speak. Compliment her, not just for her looks, but for her mind, her ideas, her grit. Cocky guys compete with women. Confident men connect with them. The ultimate flex, being totally okay whether she chooses you or not. Because confidence isn't about trying to be the best man in the room. It's about knowing you're already enough. Predictability is comforting, but too much of it kills excitement. If you want her to fall hard, you need to ignite something deeper than attraction. You need to trigger curiosity, that what's he going to do next? Feeling that keeps her mind spinning even after you've left the room. You don't need to be a daredevil or world traveler, you just need to bring a sense of adventure into your connection. Women are drawn to emotion-rich experiences, and if she associates you with excitement, you'll become the highlight of her day. Start with unpredictability in the right way, not flakiness, not mind games, but small, intentional surprises. Try a spontaneous plan instead of the usual dinner date. Share a random personal story that's vulnerable or funny. Suggest doing something you've never done before, like going to a quirky event, exploring a new part of town, or even just trying weird snacks together. Why does this work? Because novelty creates emotional spikes. The human brain releases dopamine when we experience something new and engaging. If she feels that spark around you often enough, she starts connecting you with that thrill. It also gives her a reason to think about you when you're not around. Boring guys are forgettable, but the guy who takes her on a rooftop to watch the city lights, the guy who dances in the street at midnight just because the vibe was right. She remembers him. He's different. He's magnetic. And don't forget the element of mystery. You don't need to spill your entire life story on date 2. Leave room for her to wonder. Be open, but don't reveal everything at once. Curiosity drives connection. It makes her want to know more, dig deeper, feel more. Bottom line, if you can make her feel alive, curious and excited when she's with you, you're not just another guy, you're an experience. Attraction might start with chemistry, but long-term connection, that's all about alignment. If she's ambitious, driven, passionate about something, and you're just floating through life with no goals, that spark dies quickly. Women are deeply drawn to men who reflect their core values, not just common interests like music or food, but what actually matters to them on a soul level. Think about it. If she values honesty and you joke about lying to your boss, she notices. If she's driven to build a future and you talk about just seeing where life goes, that disconnect is loud. Women aren't just looking for a good time. They're looking for someone who gets their mission. This doesn't mean you have to pretend to be someone you're not. It means you need to know who you are and be clear on what you believe in. If she's big on family, and so are you, let her see it. If she's career-focused and you're grinding for your own vision, talk about it. Alignment builds emotional depth. It tells her, we could build something real. It also builds admiration. When she sees that your actions match your words, that your path has direction, that you live by principles, she doesn't just like you, she respects you. And respect, that's the foundation of love. Mirroring values doesn't mean agreeing with everything she says. It's about finding overlap in your core. If you both believe in growth, honesty, kindness, or ambition, lean into that. Highlight it. Let her feel that shared rhythm. When a woman senses that your futures could move in sync, she starts imagining you in her future. This trick flies under the radar, but it's one of the most powerful, because while physical attraction catches her eye, shared values keep her heart. Let's rewind for a second. We've talked about emotional intelligence, building trust, owning quiet confidence, creating moments of adventure, and aligning with her core values. These aren't gimmicks. These are the habits of men who don't just get the girl. They keep her attention, respect, and love. But here's the twist. All 5 of these tricks only work if you're consistent. That's where most guys fail. They do one thing right, maybe 2, and then drop the ball. Love isn't a single grand gesture. It's the accumulation of small, meaningful actions over time. It's texting her not because you should, but because you want to hear her voice. It's being there when it's uncomfortable. It's choosing presence over perfection. Most guys are reactive. They only step up when they think they're losing her. But the men who really win, they lead with intention before there's a problem. They don't just say, I care. They show it in ways that feel safe, exciting, and grounded. And trust me, she can tell the difference. If you're serious about standing out from the crowd, you need to embody these 5 tricks like second nature. Not to perform, not to manipulate, but because they reflect who you're becoming. A man with depth, with purpose, with presence. Someone she can rely on, someone she can respect. Here's what I want you to take away. If you see her as someone special, then show up like a man who knows how to treat someone special. Don't just say the right things. Live them. Show her that being around you isn't a performance, it's peace. Now, before you go, I'd love to ask for your help. I'm working toward hitting 1,000 subscribers here, and if this video gave you even a single aha moment, I'd truly appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button. Every sub pushes this mission forward and lets me keep giving you content that actually matters. Thank you for watching all the way through. That already tells me you're different. You care, you're curious, and you're ready to level up in how you show up for women and for yourself. And I've got a question for you. Which of the 5 tricks are you most excited to try? Or have you already used one with surprising results? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one, and your insight could help someone else out too. Until next time, be intentional, be grounded, and keep learning how to lead with your heart.